Okay guys, today I want to do a brief introduction to one of the best decks in the entire OCG right now, Vanquish Soul K9. This is just a few months away for us in the TCG, and if you think I'm joking when I say one of the best decks because this is Vanquish Soul, if you take a look at the latest metagame report from Road to the King, you will see that this is the most represented deck in the entire OCG right now. So, I want to do a couple different things in this video. Firstly, I want to explain the basic game plan of Vanquish Soul and how it has changed from before the support to after the support. I want to talk about why the K9 cards are basically Vanquish Soul cards, like a necessary part of the game plan for Vanquish Soul now. I want to talk a little bit about the card economy of the deck by showing you a couple basic test hands, and then talk about why this deck may be good in the future. Okay, this is an introductory video, and I'll do more in-depth stuff in the future because I'm mostly focusing on current format TCG, so if you're not interested in a couple months away from now, you don't need to watch the rest of this video. So let's begin with an introduction to what the game plan is of Vanquish Soul. So this is a deck with a very, very cool theme based on fighting game characters that are tagging in and out of battle and trying to acquire more resources than your opponent to strangle your opponent over a large number of turns. Or at least that's what the deck was supposed to do when it first came out, but now the engine starts so quickly and with so much power, it doesn't really have the initial restraint of having to take a while to become better than your opponent's deck in terms of card economy. So there are a couple true starters, and then there's some conditional starters, and then interactive cards the deck has. I will do a very brief overview of the cards and not spend too much time on it, but this is an introductory video. So, Vanquish Soul Razin was the OG starter, where if you were playing this back in the day and you did not draw access to this card, you basically lost the game. So if this card is summoned, you can add a non-warrior Vanquish Soul monster from your deck to your hand, and they all have effects where you can reveal one of two different sets of attributes to do something. So every single Vanquish Soul card has this thing where you reveal one attribute or another set of attributes and you do something. In this case, you can either reveal one fire, and then this card can't be destroyed by card effects this turn, or you can reveal a fire and a dark to destroy all other monsters in this card's column. Now this is actually a pretty decent effect because you can special summon this out of turn and place it into a column your opponent is already using, such as the extra monster zone or wherever else you want, and then destroy those cards. Also, this can help with breaking boards because obviously your opponent has already placed the cards by the time you're able to summon this card. Then we have Vanquish Soul Dr. Madlove, which is now a starter because of a new card in the deck. So if this card is summoned, you get to add a Vanquish Soul spell or trap from your deck to your hand, and the attribute reveal effects are, you can either reveal Dark, and then one face-up monster your opponent controls loses 500 attack and defense, or Darken Earth to return a monster with the lowest defense on the field to the hand. One of the new additions to the deck is Vanquish Soul Holy Sue, which is a level 5 that is extremely important. More on that in a second. So this is a turn 0 card where you can play on your opponent's turn if you have the attributes required. So during the main phase, even in your opponent's turn on your turn 0, you can reveal one other Vanquish Soul monster in your hand, special summon this card from your hand. Quick effect. You can activate one of these effects by revealing monsters in your hand with the listed attributes. So, Earth and Dark lets you take control of one monster your opponent controls with the lowest attack until the end phase, but Fire and Dark allow you to special summon a non-psychic, because she's a psychic, Vanquish Soul monster from your deck. These are once per turn, and you cannot activate both in the same chain. So this is both a starter, not a one-card starter, but a conditional starter, and your entire deck is built around having Earth, Fire, and Dark attributes. Those are the 3 required attributes for Vanquish Soul. So this is actually very, very easy to resolve to special summon any other Vanquish Soul monster from your deck. Usually, if you can't do this immediately, you're just one search away from that attribute, and then you can use this card pretty easily. If you happen to start with Earth and Dark in your hand, which is pretty likely, as long as you can special summon this on turn 0, you can snatch steal your opponent's monster. That's not broken, but it is a pretty decent effect because it is a turn 0 effect, and now that Talents is at 1, you're much less likely to play into a card like that. Okay, before we get to the boss monster of the deck, we have Jiaolong. So this is one of the important engine requirements-ish of the deck that kind of becomes an engine card based on the attributes you already have in your hand and how easy it is for you to play. It's really not hard for this card to get going, but basically this says if you reveal a card in your hand to activate a Vanquish Soul card or effect, which is any Vanquish Soul card, then you can special summon this card from your hand. The attribute reveal effects are either Fire to change the battle position of a monster on the field, or 2 Fire to add a Vanquish Soul card from your deck to your hand, so monster, spell, or trap. The boss monsters are Heavy Burger. So the boss monsters both have the same effect where during the main phase, quick effect, you can target a non-machine, so he's a machine, so that's why you have to target a non-machine. Vanquish Soul monster you control, return it to the hand, and if you do, special summon this card from your hand. Then the quick effects for attribute reveals are Dark to draw a card or Earth and Fire to burn for 1500. By the way, this makes it very easy to kill your opponent if you have swung a few times and they are just shy of death, because you can burn for 1500 on your turn and 1500 on their turn. So, an easy plus 3000 damage, also a time card. The final boss monster of the deck is Caesar Vallius. So the same during the main phase quick effect where you can bounce another Vanquish Soul monster to summon itself. And then you can either reveal Earth to make this card unaffected by your opponent's activated effects this turn, or you can reveal all 3 attributes. This is the only one that can reveal 3, Earth, Fire, and Dark, to destroy 1 card on the field, which is actually better than Tri-Brigade, Shreg, the Ominous Omen, against Malice, because you won't proc their stuff by banishing it, and it doesn't target, so this is a pretty decent effect. Now, the inclusion of the new Vanquish Soul start card is one of the things that propels this deck into meta relevance. So this allows you to target a Vanquish Soul monster you control, and then add a Vanquish Soul monster with a different attribute from your deck to your hand. So that's why the Mad Love, which searches for a spell or trap, is now a starter on its own. And this card is basically a starter, but you do technically need to control a Vanquish Soul monster, which is very easy with the way that you build the deck, but technically it's not a true starter because of that requirement. So being able to add one with a different attribute is pretty good because you're getting all the attributes that you want. It also has 2 other relevant effects where if a Vanquish Soul monsters you control be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can reveal a Vanquish Soul monster in your hand instead. This actually does matter. The OG plan of the deck was to slowly strangle your opponent out of resources with a slow start. We no longer have a slow start with this deck, but still, it's a useful effect. During the end phase, if you control 2 or more Vanquish Soul monsters, you can set 1 Vanquish Soul trap from your deck, and those are all once per turn effects. Now, the trap is another very important part of the game plan. This is one of the most powerful in-archetype traps that I've seen as well. It's just that it is a trap, so obviously, you don't want to draw this going second, and drawing first, you'd still rather search it than draw it. So, you can reveal up to 1 each of Dark, Earth, and Fire monsters in your hand. These don't have to be Vanquish Soul. None of the reveals have to be Vanquish Soul cards, they just have to be the attribute. Then you apply the following effects in sequence based on the number revealed. So if you've only revealed 1, then you burn for 400 and you can special summon a Vanquish Soul monster from your hand. If you reveal at least 2, you can inflict 600 to your opponent, so there'll be a total of 1,000 so far. And then Vanquish Soul monsters you control can't be destroyed by card effects. If you reveal all 3 attributes, Dark, Earth, and Fire, you can inflict 800 to your opponent, so it will be 1,800 total. Then you can destroy all monsters on the field. But of course, your Vanquish Soul monsters cannot be destroyed by card effects, so it's basically like a Murakumo, but in a trap. Okay, there are some other important cards like Stake Your Soul, where you can reveal a monster with a certain attribute and special summon a Vanquish Soul monster with the same attribute from your deck. And there are some other kind of relevant Vanquish Soul cards like Dust Devil, which is a much better card on the dice roll than the trap card, which is basically like a Book of Eclipse type card. But the ceiling of Snow Devil is so high that because you don't really have any other bricks in the deck, unless you choose to add them, that it doesn't really hurt to play this card. Okay, so that's a basic kind of card-for-card overview of Vanquish Soul and a super brief introduction to the game plan, but why would you be playing the Canine stuff? So, first of all, the Canine cards are all the right attributes. So, Izuna, for example, is an Earth, Jokul is a Dark, Lantern is a Dark, and Lupus is an Earth. So these all meet the basic requirements of being the correct attributes for Vanquish Soul. They also allow you, in some cases, certain turn 0 plays. So one of the packages that is becoming very popular in the OCG that is probably going to translate here is during the main phase, if your opponent activated a monster effect in the hand or graveyard this turn, quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can dump a Canine card from your deck to the graveyard besides itself. So you may be wondering, well, okay, so you can special summon this in your opponent's turn on turn 0 and dump a card. Why would I want to do that? So the Lupus card says, during the main phase, if your opponent activated a monster effect in the hand or graveyard, that's the basic theme for the Canine stuff. If your opponent has activated a card or a monster effect, in the hand or graveyard this turn, then you usually gain some effect. So a quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand or graveyard, which is what you would be doing if you had dumped this off of the Izuna, but you banish it when it leaves the field. The reason you would want to get these 2 level 5s on field is because this has another effect during your opponent's turn to quick effect XYZ summon using this card you control. Any XYZ monster that has this card as material gains the effect that your opponent cannot target it with card effects. So being able to quick XYZ into a rank 5 in your opponent's turn is pretty powerful, and it means that you have 6 turn 0 type cards in your deck. There's the Holy Sue and the Izuna. So that's obviously pretty decent because when you build your deck for game one, regardless of the deck you're playing, it's a lot better, or it feels a lot better when most of the time, like just over half of your hands, you're going to have a turn 0 play. Okay, the other Canine cards I'm not going to do a card for card for, but they're all pretty decent. This is one that can special summon itself and another level 5 from hand. It also can add a non-aqua Canine monster from your deck to your hand. And then Lantern is one that can target a non-pyro Canine monster in your graveyard and special summon both it and that card. So it's kind of like a Monster Reborn type card. And then this one can also add a Canine spell or trap from your deck to your hand. All of them allow you to normal summon them without tributing if your opponent has 2 or more cards in hand, which will be basically all the time. Okay, the Canine also has a Case of Canine, which can add any Canine monster from your deck to your hand, which is pretty great. You can play pure Canine, but you wouldn't be maxing out on this because you're very low on non-engine space when you are playing these cards, although this is kind of a non-engine card anyhow. There's also a card that you don't have to play. This is, I guess, technically a brick, but is an extremely strong ceiling card. Canine X Forced Liberation. So this says, during the main phase, target one Canine XYZ monster you control. Special summon from your extra deck one Canine XYZ monster with a different name by using that monster you control as material. This is an XYZ summon, and it transfers the materials. Then you can destroy a card your opponent controls that is also non-targeting. And at the end of the battle phase of your Canine monster battle this turn, you can set this card from your graveyard. So this is a pretty strong card because they have a couple of Canine XYZs. This is the last card for card overview I'll do before I just get into some of the sample hands. So this one, Canine Ripper, requires 2 level 5 monsters, and by the way, it is very easy to get 2 Vanquish Soul level 5 monsters on field because Holy Suit is a 5 and Jiaolong is a 5. So even if you don't open any of your Canine cards, you can easily bridge into them with the Vanquish Soul stuff. And this card allows you to detach a material and add a Canine card from your deck to your hand. And then if your opponent activated a monster effect this turn, you can set a Canine Quick Play spell card from your deck or graveyard, such as the Canine X Force Liberation, which is like the rank up Canine type card. Also, when your opponent activates a monster effect in the hand or graveyard, quick effect, you can detach a material from this card and negate that effect. So this is a pretty generically strong card all around. They also have Canine Hound, which is a light monster. By the way, the Canine cards that special summon themselves and another body, like this one brings itself out and another level 5 from hand, and Lantern brings itself out and another level 5 from grave, they lock you out of using themselves and the thing they bring back from making a light XYZ. So you cannot make Hound, for example, off of the materials that have been locked out of light. And you also can't make some of the other broken light XYZ monsters with those materials. So this one can't be destroyed by battle or your opponent's card effects that turn into special summoned. Each time your opponent activates a monster effect, this card gains 500 attack when that effect resolves. Because this is not until the end of the turn, if you choose to do the Izuna thing where you summon this in your opponent's turn, dump the Lupus, bring the Lupus out, and quick XYZ, you would be gaining a huge amount of attack by the time it gets to your turn. And the Lupus would make it so that your opponent cannot target the Hound with card effects, and Hound's own effect would stop it from being destroyed by battle or card effects the turn it was special summoned. So this is kind of like a pseudo Towers if you were to bring it out in your opponent's turn or even on your own turn. Then once per turn during the standby phase, you can detach one material from this card, target one card on the field, banish it. So this is kind of like it's not like a super oppressive card in the sense that it doesn't stop your opponent doing something, but it is strong presence. Then their boss monster is X-Werewolf, so this is something you would typically summon with the Canine X-Force Liberation to rank up into it. So while this card has material, it can attack a number of times each battle phase up to the number of materials attached to it. When your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you can detach one material from this card, then activate this effect depending on whose turn it is. If it's your turn, you can banish one card your opponent controls and or one card from their graveyard, so pretty strong. If it's your opponent's turn, you can look at your opponent's hand and banish one card from it face up until the end phase. So both pretty strong effects, and both of them are pretty relevant even if you're doing them on turn 0, if you're doing them on the crackback, whenever. Okay, last couple things of importance to note is that one of the common texts people are playing is this card. So this is a generic rank 5 that has a quick effect to detach a material and then book one face-up monster your opponent controls. And if your opponent decides to clear it that turn or whenever, if it's sent to the graveyard, you can target a face-down card on the field, such as the one that this would have booked, and destroy it. So it's just like another toolbox option for the turn 0 type plays, or whenever you want to make it. One of the most broken cards in the entire deck is called Paradise Smasher. So this is a light rank 5, which means that you can only make it if you are not locked out of the light XYZs. So usually not with Jokul and Lantern, but you can make it with Izuna and, the Holy Su and the Vanquish Soul Jiaolong. But this card has an effect where you can detach 2 materials. Each player rolls a 6-sided die twice. The player with the higher total cannot activate monster effects or declare an attack until the end of the next turn. Now, that may seem like a 50-50 gamble, but it also has another effect where once per turn, if either player rolls a 6-sided die or dice, while this card has material, you can treat one of the results as a 7. So you basically have to make this with 3 materials because this has to detach 2, and you need to have a material, after it resolves to be able to do this, and you're basically stacking the dice against your opponent. So this is, kind of like the VFD type effect. Okay. There's one more cheese card in here. I'm not going to cover this. I just want to get to the basic resource loop and show you what this looks like. So first of all, if you only have Dr. Madlove, which this does not ever come up, the whole deck is premised around the fact that you have other attributes in your hand. But just to give you an idea of the basic resource economy of the deck, let's say that you just have a Madlove and you normal summon your Madlove. So on summon, this can add a Vanquish Soul, spell, or trap from your deck to your hand. So you can add the field spell here, and when you activate the field spell, remember this will allow us to target a Vanquish Soul monster we control, and then search for a Vanquish Soul monster with a different attribute to the one that we control. So here, if we wanted, we could search for our other starter, but because we've already used our normal summon, we'd go into the link 1 here. So this one has 2 different effects. You can either special summon a Vanquish Soul monster from your hand, or you can add a Vanquish Soul monster from your graveyard to your hand. These are both very relevant effects because you always want to make sure that you have the correct attributes in your hand, so cycling stuff from the grave is very important, and also matters if you're playing Dimension Shifter. So here we can use Rock to special summon the Razin from our hand, and the Razin will then search for, whatever it is that we want. Remember that the Jiaolong, his main interaction with Razin is the Razin can reveal a fire to make himself indestructible, and as long as you reveal an attribute for one of your Vanquish Soul card effects, you can special summon the Jiaolong. So the Vanquish Soul start, the field spell will also set a Vanquish Soul trap during the end phase as long as you control at least 2 Vanquish Soul monsters. So this is not to show you a combo, it's just to show you that the card economy on this deck is very, very powerful because a card like Madlove or also Razin gets you to all this type of stuff. And as long as you have, the field spell and you're ending on the trap, you're going to have a pretty decent number of plays because you're going to have all the other attributes in your hand. Okay, so now let me give you a basic rundown of like a random hand. So this is just a random hand that I've drawn here. And here we have the Razin. So this is the basic starter that searches for the monster. We have the Holy Su that can bring herself out by revealing another Vanquish Soul monster and then is either a kind of a starter or an interruption. We have the Jiaolong, which can reveal double fires to search a Vanquish Soul card. We have the Heavy Burger, which can tag out. And then we also have the Jokul, Canine Jokul. So this one can reveal this card and one other level 5 monster in your hand, special summon both, but then you can't use them as material for the XYZ summon of a light monster. But also it can search for a non-aqua canine monster. So similar to the Vanquish Soul cards, these ones will usually search things that aren't themselves, like based on their type or attribute. Okay, so let's basically just click through some cards here and see what happened if we use some Vanquish Soul and canine effects. So here I will start by activating Holy Su. The cool thing about this card and some of the other starters now is that it's not like you normal summon Razin and if it's negated, you might lose half the time. You have actually a bunch of different options on how you want to begin and continue your turn. So here, I will reveal any other Vanquish Soul monster to special summon this card from my hand. So now we have Holy Su on field. And here I can reveal Fire and Dark, because here, I have like a Fire in Razin. I have a Dark in Jokul. There's also a Fire here and a Dark here. To special summon a non-psychic Vanquish Soul monster. So here I'm going to bring out Madlove, and because that is summoned, I can now search for a Vanquish Soul spell or trap. Now, oftentimes you would be forced with Madlove before the support to search for the trap card, or you'd have to hope that your Jiaolong would resolve all the way so this would search your trap card. But now, because the field spell for free, in addition to already being a good field spell, will give you the trap card, it means you can use your Madlove and Jiaolong searches on things that help you get other attributes into your hand and continue like out-resourcing your opponent. So here we can go field spell, target Madlove and search, for example, an Earth. Here we're really just getting all of the different Vanquish Soul names because all of it is so free. So now we can, if we want, we can tag out with Heavy Burger. Again, I'm just showing you how the cards work here. So Heavy Burger is bouncing a card to tag out. And I can reveal a Dark here, such as the Mad Love I just bounced, to draw another card. And you can already see here that these cards are working very well together, just having the right attributes. And because I've revealed an attribute, I can trigger Jiaolong to special summon itself. If I want to, I can normal summon a Razin and search for a monster, such as another Jiaolong. You often do things like this if you're trying to modulate the attributes in your hand, for example, because you want 2 fires in hand to search any Vanquish Soul card. But if we look at our hand here and see that we only have 1 fire, we'll have to have a way to get another fire in our hand. So if we go into the Rock of the Vanquisher using the Razin as material, we can now bounce that Razin from grave to our hand to get 2 fire monsters in our hand. So the point of this isn't to show you have to combo in this particular way. It's just to show you this is how the cards work together so that you're always modulating the attributes you have access to. And now, for example, you can Jiaolong reveal 2 fires to search for whatever it is that you want to search for. So here I'm going to search for another Holy Sue, and the reason I'm doing that is because I want to use my 2 Vanquish Soul level 5s to go into the Canine engine, because this is something that you would often do if you haven't drawn access to them, although I have here, or if you want to use the ones you've drawn for something else. So now that we've gone for the Canine Ripper, we can detach a material to search for another Canine card if we want, such as the Azuna. This is the turn 0 card that works during any main phase. So here I could use the, what's this one called again? The Jokul, and bring itself out in any other level 5. In this case, I'll choose to bring out the Azuna. But obviously, normally if you're setting up plays with this deck, you probably want to keep your turn 0 type plays like the Azuna and the Holy Sue as options in your hand. But anyhow, here I'm just showing you that you can go ahead and make another rank 5 if you want. The Azuna, of course, can dump the Lupus to the grave, because that's, the thing that during the main phase, if your opponent uses an effect in the hand or graveyard, then you can special summon himself out from the hand or graveyard, and then he also can do the quick XYZ type effect. Here the Jokul can add us a non-aqua, so here we can add the Lantern, and this one can bring himself out and another level 5 from grave. So all of these cards work perfectly together, both in their own archetypes and together. So here, if we wanted to make a whatever rank 5, we could go for the one that has the quick effect to book a monster. And then we still, if we wanted, could Lantern and bring out our Lupus to go into whatever else we wanted. Of course, the Lantern can search for a Canine spell or trap. In this case, we're going to search for the X-Forced Liberation. Now, if we want, we can do whatever else. So we could go into the Hound here, and we can set the X-Forced Liberation and summon the rank 9 guy. And we have like a ton of economy. During the end phase, we're going to be able to use Vanquish Soul start, as long as we've made sure to keep 2 Vanquish Soul monsters on field to set the Snow Devil from deck. And as long as we've made sure to keep the Fire, Earth, and Dark in hand, then we have an out-of-turn Raigeki and also protection for our own cards for the rest of the turn. So I hope that this brief introduction is somewhat useful for understanding what Vanquish Soul is hoping to accomplish. I would like to do some more in-depth videos where I talk about the play patterns and how you try to organize your hand better. If people are interested in this, let me know, and I'll do another Vanquish Soul video soon. Otherwise, I'll just go back to current format. Anyhow, thanks for watching. Any suggestions, please let me know in the comments. And if you want to join the Discord, feel free and at me, as I'm very active there.